congratulations. Thanks for speaking to us about Charlotte here. And it's being showcased here at Animation is Film Festival. How does it feel for both of you that being here at this film festival?
So, slight correction, Charlotte is not actually screening at this particular festival. But we've come in support of the festival. Charlotte screened it was a competition in Annecy in France over the summer.
And in Guadalajara.
So we've sort of done a bit of a circuit, and this was a great opportunity to come to an event that really we were in solidarity with the idea that irrespective of the genre, animation can represent all kinds of different styles of filmmaking, and Charlotte is a film that Julie and I worked on that isn't your traditional animated film in terms of the way North American audiences would understand it to be for children or for younger audiences. So that's why I think it was important for us to come to this festival and show our support.
Most excellent. So where did the original idea came from for Charlotte? I understand it's based on somewhat on a true story.
Yeah, so it's based on the life of a painter named Charlotte Salomon, and she painted her life story in over 1,000 paintings when she was in her early 20s. She was a refugee who had to flee Berlin to the south of France during World War II. And these paintings put together, she called it Life for Theater. And I was given this book when I was 13. So I've been carrying around this story, it's like a graphic novel, for a very, very long time. And then I had the idea that because Charlotte Salomon drew her life story, we needed to draw her life story. And that's how it came about.
So what just from that one book alone, there was such enough information to make it into a film, or do you have to go into more extensive research?
We had to do a little bit more research, but again, she died at 26 in Auschwitz, so there's not a ton of data, but we combined data from different historians with how she told her own life story, and the two writers, Eric Rutherford and David Bezmosgis, worked on the screenplay for years and years and years to put it all into the best possible combination.
Wow. Now tell us about the animation style that you adapted for this film, because a lot of people have moved on to like CGI, CG animation, but it seems like you wanted to stick with this 2D type of animation style.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense for us to do 2D animation. Certainly, Charlotte Salomon herself was a painter, an expressionist painter, and we thought that it would be a good idea to use drawings to represent her story. And at the same point, what was important to us was to be able to showcase her paintings themselves as really important elements of the narrative. So we decided to develop a style that was 2D animation, so that it would feel drawn organically. So we used a blend between classical hand-drawn animation and a software called Harmony. And then that would give us the ability to have Charlotte exist in a world that was close to, but also very distinct from her own art style. So there was a juxtaposition there between Charlotte on screen in her world and that art design, along with the paintings, the transition devices that we show to come alive. So that was a purposeful sort of objective of ours, and we were able to, I think, leverage 2D animation and being able to do what we wanted to in terms of conveying the emotion of the scene, and also go into Charlotte's own paintings and have them meld together seamlessly.
Now, what paintings of Charlotte's did you actually, how did you make the decisions on which paintings to incorporate into the film? And was like, whether it translates into animation, was that a big factor?
That was part of it. There was a lot of paintings to choose from. Charlotte documented her life and her story, and the fictionalized parts of her life as well, in a way that it gave us a lot to choose from. Like Julie said, there were close to 1,000 paintings. So I think each of us had our own favorites. Not all of them were chosen. So it was a pretty big collaboration between myself and co-director and Julia, of course. I think we chose paintings that visually were striking to us, but would also fit the time and place that we were transitioning to and from. So they act as the plot devices to take us from one place into another place. And yeah, it was quite fun determining sort of how would a painting come to life, and almost reverse engineering, starting from the first drop of paint, and figuring out how the different parts of the composition would burst to life. That was really fun, and something that I enjoyed in the process very much.
We also chose paintings to reveal to the audience Charlotte's inner life at that moment, was also tied to character.
And then I'm curious, what are both of yours favorite paintings of Charlotte's then? Can you describe that?
Yeah, my favorite painting is sort of this collage of Charlotte, showing her different stages of her life. I think she draws herself several times in the composition. There's very distinctive sunflowers, and I just don't know the name of the painting.
Many of them were not named, many of them were just numbered. And what she did incredibly is she had a painting and then she had an overlay on top that traced something out, and she had dialogue and she had suggestions for music. So it really was a whole work of art. It wasn't just a private diary. Mine, I've been looking at this work for so long that I think my favorites change, but currently one that I love is a really abstract one of a window. And it sort of looks like a Rothko painting or something in its use of color. And windows were very important for Charlotte because she eventually learns that her mother committed suicide by jumping out of a window, and her grandmother does the same thing. So windows are sort of an omen of bad news. So it's quite powerful.
It sounds like Charlotte's life, is a story to tell. But after working on a project like this, what was the most important thing that you learned about Charlotte?
Really, to be frank, everything I learned about Charlotte was brand new to me. And as somebody who studied art in school, I'd never heard of Charlotte Salomon before. And this was something that I felt was so egregious, that Charlotte, her story and who she wasn't more broadly known in art circles or otherwise. So for me, it was the importance of understanding history, especially history from the Holocaust, and she champions of the Holocaust, and she was able to achieve her objective, her goal, her legacy, which was to leave behind a piece for herself. So for me, it was really important to pay proper homage to that and almost participate in Charlotte's own goal, which was letting the world know of her massive talents and gifts. That's kind of the mission statement that we all carried around, was let's shine a light on Charlotte so audiences can know who she was and how remarkable she was.
And we know Julia loved Charlotte when she was a little girl. That's for certain.
Yeah, we say that if after seeing the film, the first thing that people do is Google Charlotte Salomon, then we've done our work. And for me, the takeaway is her commitment and how committed she was to her art, and how she found meaning, like hope and a sense of meaning through being creative. And I think that's a great lesson, especially in today's times, which can also be quite trying. And it's hard to find solutions for things. But sometimes the solution is just within us, and it's within our ability to dream and create. It doesn't solve all of our problems, but it can help us endure them.
Yeah, most excellent. And one of the things that it's also very notable is that, the story of the Holocaust and victims of the Holocaust has been told over and over again. How did you want to approach your film to make it different from all those other films?
Well, certainly doing a biopic the way that we did, with a subject not as well known as Charlotte, that makes it a really unique project in its own. But I think using the medium and the way that we use the medium and the way that we tied together all the elements of the sound and the music and Charlotte's own paintings and the visual style and the storytelling, I think all those things sort of combine to create something that does stand alone. I really can't think of a lot of parallels in terms of films that are very similar to ours, and I think that was purposeful, and I think that was a good thing. This is almost a film that stands alone on its own merits and isn't really that similar to others.
There's some similarities, like Persepolis, in terms of it being a story of the coming of age of a female artist. But for the Holocaust, it's really important when telling stories, true stories about victims of the Holocaust, to really connect to what is true. And I think we did that, and I agree that animation makes it feel new and different. So it brings people's attention in a fresher way.
Absolutely, and we most definitely will get emotional through a film like this. And one more thing before I go is what's up next after Charlotte?
That's a good question. Julia and I are looking for. I really enjoyed my collaboration with Julia. Personally, for me, having been in animation for my entire career and working on really fun projects and for a younger age group, I really hope to get the chance to work on some mature cinema again, using animation and developing projects that are similar in terms of tone, that are also different and deserve to be told in different style and art form.
And yes, we're trying to figure out which animated project we'll work on together, and I have a few live action projects that should all shoot in 2023.
Most excellent. Well, congratulations, and thank you once again for speaking to us about Charlotte and making the circuit to get the word out.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.